Welcome to Managing Your Money, brought to you by Money Sense, Singapore's national financial education program. We're talking today about how to avoid the debt trap, how to get out of the over-leveraging of your loans or your borrowings. And joining us in the studio once again is Mr. Tay Tian Guan. He's Money Sense's representative from the Association of Banks. Morning, Mr. Tay.
Good morning, one and all.
That's right. Okay, let's jump straight into this. Last week you were telling us, or touched on, the fact about over-leveraging, over-borrowing perhaps. And you had a personal experience to share with us. Perhaps you'd like to re-enlighten our audience.
Well, 25 years ago, I lost 350,000 speculating in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
2 judgment debt, 17 creditors, but thank God I survived to tell a miracle story.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is still great. We want to get rich quick. I wanted to be a millionaire by the age of 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for all ways and means to make money fast. And that's how I got into trouble.
If you have a question for Mr. Tay, please don't hesitate to call us on 669-11938. So let's get into the fact of how we can avoid the debt trap. Greed, obviously, is primary in everyone's mind. I want to get rich quick. But is it possible in this day and age?
Well, there's always a greed monster in each one of us. If we differ, it's only a matter of degree. So that's why it's always important to be on guard all the time. I mean, who doesn't want to have more money? Who doesn't want to live in the bigger house, drive a bigger car?
Yeah.
But you need to know what you're getting into. I mean, it's very easy to get into debt, but very difficult to get out.
Okay, let's deal with the fact of getting into debt. We come out of school these days with, I want to have this cash, the car, I want to have the condo immediately. And primarily, everyone wants to get into the property market. I'm going to put my money down and borrow till the cows come home. And why is that the case? Is it something systemic in our society?
Well, property is always the first big ticket item that people consider. But it's important to know that while we want to own a property or own an asset, the reality is that if you borrow 100% and you have to channel the big bulk of your salary, your income to service the debt for the next 30 years, you got to seriously ask yourself, is this really an asset or is it a liability? And a lot of people forget that when they buy to stay in such a house, there's also an opportunity cost.
Right.
By staying in a house that can be rented out for 3,000, 5,000, you're actually spending this money on yourself in addition to the interest that you have to pay on your loan, depending on how much you borrow. So that is, in a sense, spending. So we talked about last week about whether you want to invest in the future or you want to spend your future.
Indeed.
So when you lock yourself into such a big ticket item loan, you know that you are on the wrong start in the sense. Yeah?
Before we go into the pitfalls of debt, I'm sure everybody knows the pitfalls of debt. Let's ask our caller 669-11938 if you want a question, to put a question to Mr. Tay. But credit card borrowings and all that sort of thing. We've seen Mike Tyson, 20-year boxing career, earnings exceeding $400 million US, and before his 39th birthday, he's in debt. We've got Michael Jackson, all that kind of money, also in debt.
Yes.
Is it greed on that score, perhaps?
Okay. In these 2 cases, I had the opportunity to find out about their background, and one of the key factor is overspending. See, easy money in, easy money out. And when they splurge, they really splurge. I mean, Mike Tyson case, I read about his story. He spent something like $2 million on a bathtub for his wife. Can you imagine? Michael Jackson, whole plane chartered. He goes to shop. He literally buy the whole shop, that kind of thing. So this is where a lot of people need to realize that sometimes when you are very tight cash flow, you think that you need to increase your income. But for a lot of people, they should look at their spending What are they spending on? Are they spending their future? Are they really spending on things that doesn't matter, seems urgent but not important? You know?
Now, we can always beat, perhaps it's a dead horse to say that, don't get into debt, because, and I think everyone knows the kind of problems that will ensue. But the fact is, I live with a limited budget. I live in a limited space, which I have to pay for. I have bills which are mounting, and perhaps at the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing left.
Right.
And I have to go to alternate sources. What would you tell someone like that?
Well, last week I mentioned about the three choices. You can either opt for instant short-term gratification. Worse, if you tap into advanced gratification by mortgaging your future income, even through easy credit. And of course, the third option, which is to me is a better option, is delay gratification. Are you prepared to wait, to save? And like I say, your meal will be more satisfying. Your trip that you take will be more enjoyable. And when you invest or you buy your house or even your car for that matter, you can sleep better.
Okay, let's how we've dealt with the pitfalls of debt. How do you get out of debt? Say I'm in a mountain of debt right now. I haven't declared bankruptcy or that is not an option. How do I get out of it? What do I need to do?
I think once you are in debt, the most important thing is to really quickly take a stock take and to see where have you gone wrong. Have you mismanaged your fund? Have you overcommitted yourself? And to exercise the self-control discipline to cut unnecessary expenses, to try to pare down your debt ASAP, as quick as possible.
Now, 669-11938 is our number. Now, if you watch any financial program on the various media available, somebody will always advise you. If you're in debt, if you can beg, borrow, or steal, whatever it is, try and pay off as much of it as possible. Is it possible? Will a bank lend you money when you are over-leveraged?
You see, when you borrow, especially from the bank or for that matter even loan sharks, to try to settle your debt, I call this firefighting. You cannot fight fire with fire.
Sure.
But of course, if you really recognize that you have a problem and you have people around you, your relatives, your friends who are prepared to help you, pay first, and for you later on to exercise the discipline to repay them. Of course, this is the best way, quick way out, so that you avoid unnecessary interest or penalty interest. So a lot depends on what is your situation, So in my years of counseling people in trouble, many a times when they come to me, it's like beyond salvage kind of situation.
Okay.
So it's very painful, very tragic, and people need to know that when they get themselves into such trouble, it's not just their own life, but the lives of the people around them, their loved ones, their dependents. And we have seen cases, even last year, a tragic story of a man who killed his 2 children and then committed suicide because of speculation, overspending, because of that.
669-11938 is our number. If you have a question for Mr. Te Tian Guan, Money Senses representative from the Association of Banks, we are talking this morning about how to avoid the debt trap. We are going for a short break. When we come back, we'll tell you all about the 4 golden rules of borrowing. Keep it right here on